Ritu ma'am, we can begin.
Namaskar and good morning to one and all. I, Ritupriya Gutu, on behalf of Department of Law, Prestige Institute of Management and Research Indore, extend a warm welcome to the dignitaries, faculty members, and the participants to the inaugural ceremony of Padma Shri Dr. N. Jain National Debate Competition 2021 on the topic Primary Duty to Protect the Health of Indian Citizens Should Rely on Center. Noam Chomsky once said, "The smart way to keep people passive and obedient is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion, but allow a very lively debate within that spectrum." With this motto of encouraging and igniting young debaters to express their views, Department of Law is indeed honored to have amongst us for this event Honorable Justice Shri Chimleshwar, former Judge of Supreme Court of India, Dr. T.S.N. Shastri, Professor, Pune University, and former Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai, Dr. Davis Jain, Chairman, Prestige Education Foundation, Dr. Anil Bajpai, Chief Operating Officer, Prestige Education Foundation, Dr. R.K. Sharma, Director in Charge, Department of Law, Prestige Institute of Management and Research. I now request Dr. R.K. Sharma, Sir, Director in Charge, Department of Law, Prestige Institute of Management and Research, to address the august gathering.
So please unmute, Dr. Sharma, please unmute. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ritu. Honorable Justice Chimleshwarji, Dr. Shastri, Dr. Davis Jain, Dr. Anil Bajpai ji, Ritu Priya, my colleague, faculty members, students from PIMR, students from various institutes of Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and outside of Madhya Pradesh. It is indeed a matter of great pleasure to have with us two of the dignitaries, Justice Chimleshwarji and Dr. Shastri, on this inaugural of Padma Shri Dr. N. Jain's second national debate competition, which will be starting from today. A small seed was being sown by our founder chairman, Shri N. Jain Sahab, in the year 1994, now have grown up into a big tree with a lot of branches. We started with a very small number of 60 students way back in 1994, and we are proud to say today we are catering the educational need of almost 10,000 students right from KG to PhD. It is his vision and his guidance that because of which we are able to grow and we have come to this stage. And we have not stopped here. Soon we are going to have a Prestige University in Indore. In the coming years, we would like to have more universities in different states of India. So I am once again honored, and I welcome Honorable Justice Chimleshwarji and Dr. Shastri in this inaugural session of our second debate competition. With this, I would like to take you to a AV, which will show the journey of Prestige Institute of Management and Research. Nakul, will you please play the AV?
Educating someone is the noblest effort anyone can do in his lifetime. Prestige Education Foundation was founded with the same motive in the year 1994. In its journey, this foundation is nurturing students from LKG till PhD, with the vision of developing students of society as front runners and to contribute towards national development. Prestige Education Foundation runs institutions offering courses in management, engineering, law, media studies, commerce, IT, to name a few. With its glorious voyage of excellence in quality education, research and consultancy, the Prestige Education Foundation now stands at a new threshold with its upcoming Prestige University. The man behind this vision is Padma Shri Dr. N. Jain, an entrepreneur, industrialist, and philanthropist. Carrying the vision of Dr. N. Jain to new heights, Dr. Devish Jain, Chairman, Prestige Education Foundation and Chancellor, Prestige University, and Mr. Dipin Jain, Vice Chairman, Prestige Education Foundation and Pro-Chancellor, Prestige University, are spearheading this intellectual entity by following the footprints and vision of their father. Maintaining high standards as per the norms and directives of higher education and education bodies of state and central government, the institute was successful to get permanent affiliation from the prestigious Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya Indore in the year 2000. It enjoys autonomous status thrice consecutively by UGC in 2006, 2012, and again in 2018. It is recognized by University Grants Commission under 2F and 12B. The institute has been accredited twice by National Assessment and Accreditation Council (NAAC) with NAAC A-grade accreditation, in 2009 with a CGPA of 3.11 and in 2014 with a CGPA of 3.33. It is an ISO 9001-2015 certified institute. PIMR provides suitable environment for academic research and currently has 49 PhD guides, 115 JRF and PhD awardees, and 91 research scholars at our PhD Center, which came into action in the year 1994. The PhD Center is a recognized research center of Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya Indore. At present, close to 400 research papers of our faculty members have made their place in different and esteemed international and national research journals such as UGC, UGC Care, Scopus, and ABDC. In the year 2019, PIMR was enlisted under UGC Paramarsh scheme, where it assists other institutions for NAAC accreditation purposes. PIMR Good Governance Cell has been actively involved in conducting various activities related to public-private relationship model and helps to accomplish various government projects. Department of Higher Education and World Bank initiated Governance Benchmarking Project with international standards, in which PIMR Indore is identified as a top-notch institute and has been suggested to offer suggestions and recommendations to other institutions. The year of 2018 brought another milestone for us as the foundation stone of Atal Incubation Center Prestige Inspire Foundation was laid, which is an initiative supported by Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, and the Government of India. The concept of Prestige Atal Incubation Center is to give a shape with the notion of establishing startups in the agricultural sector of MP region and other promising sectors by budding entrepreneurs. The AIC currently has 12 startups that have won numerous awards at international and national levels. Beginning with 400 in 1994, the student strength now stands at over 5,000 and continues to rise in postgraduate courses, MBA full-time, MBA Financial Administration, MBA Marketing Management, MBA International Business, MBA Personnel Administration, MBA Advertising and Public Relations, MBA Part-Time, Master of Mass Communication. In undergraduate courses, BBA, BBA Foreign Trade, BCA, BCom Honours, BA JMC, and in law courses, BA LLB Honours, BCom LLB Honours, BBA LLB Honours, LLB Honours, LLM. The institute also offers a range of certification programs. Complacency leads to stagnancy. The institute continuously evaluates itself through participation in various external rankings conducted by external agencies. The institute has been consistently ranked in top business schools of India on a variety of parameters. The institute supports and promotes a range of developmental programs for faculty members and has successfully conducted many faculty development programs, research methodology workshops, curriculum development workshops, case study workshops, and international conferences ever since its inception. We are proud to host a galaxy of experts, luminaries, and delegates cutting across industries and sectors who have blessed, motivated, and inspired our students with their knowledge, experience, and expertise. PIMR's Research Consultancy and Training Wing conducts MDPs, EDPs, and many training programs for industry and several departments. Under the umbrella of best practices, PIMR prides itself in providing the students a holistic center, road track club, PIMR literacy mission, and our flagship program Rahat, a health camp organized to serve community. Anubhuti and village adoption are at the forefront of our endeavor to contribute meaningfully towards social causes. A sound infrastructure is one of the most crucial elements for creating a sound learning environment within an institution. Keeping this in mind, the Institute has been maintaining its advanced infrastructure such as e-library, dedicated English language lab, computer-based simulation lab, and a well-equipped media studio that caters to all the requirements of film and television production. All these have led to the creation of award-winning productions. Department's community radio and Prestige International Film Festival help media students to get contemporary exposure. Apart from classroom teaching, the Institute provides an array of activities and engagement initiatives for students. E-Shakti, a student-driven event, was a joint initiative of Madhya Pradesh Agency of Promotion of Information Technology, Bharti Airtel Limited Airtel, and Prestige Institute of Management and Research, which empowered 120,000 women of Madhya Pradesh by making them computer literate. Regular series of institute industry interactions, student-driven clubs, Central India's biggest youth festival Manthan, are all platforms for students in the direction of experiential and hands-on learning. With our students, we have successfully achieved Guinness World Record of largest backward walk and many other records. We are proud about our supportive and meaningful MOUs with foreign universities and institutions such as Munich Business School, Munich, Germany, London School of Business and Finance, Singapore, Siam University, Bangkok, Thailand, Federal Polytechnic, Oko, Anambra State, Nigeria, International Latin University, Argentina, Poltava University of Economics and Trade, Poltava, Ukraine, NEFU University, Yakutsk, Russia, Synergy University, Moscow, Russia, Florida International University, United States of America, to name a few. In continuation with this, we also maintain a list of strong linkages and professional MOUs with industry. The Institute offers global exposure to students through its international linkages in the forms of international internships, industrial visits, foreign certification programs, and short training courses. An institute is known by its students and their success stories. Placements at PIMR have been outstanding, attracting recruiters from diverse sectors. Alumni are the real brand ambassadors, and our institute feels immensely proud of PIMR alumni who are creating milestones in their respective fields. Having made their footprints domestically and globally, our alumni are associated with top leagues across industries. The next milestone in this enriching and engaging journey for PIMR is to be a degree awarding institute.
Thank you very much. One more feather in our cap, which was being recently added in the month of March 2021, is achieving A++ grade from NAC consequently in 3 terms with a grade point score of 3.56. This was not there in this AV. With this, Ritu, now I hand over the program to you.
Thank you, sir. We are privileged to have with us Dr. Devish Jain, Chairman, Prestige Education Foundation. Dr. Devish Jain is a widely acknowledged and a passionate educationist. He is regarded as one of the most knowledgeable agri-business specialists, having extensive contact with the key global player. He is widely appreciated for his innovative initiative in the education as well as industry sector. He was very aptly awarded the title of the world's greatest leader by the United Research Services International, URS Asia 1. We welcome you, sir. I now request Dr. Davis Jain, sir, to kindly address the gathering.
Namaskar. Good morning to all our distinguished dignitaries, director, faculties, and participants from the various law colleges and other institutions across the country. Friends, it's my privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the Prestige Education Foundation to the Padma Shri Dr. N. Jain Second National Debate Competition 2021 being organized under the aegis of the Department of Law, Prestige Institute of Management and Research, Indore. I especially welcome Honorable Justice J. Kamleshwarji, former Judge of Supreme Court of India, and Honorable Dr. T.S.N. Shastri, Professor Pune University and the former Vice Chancellor of Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, for gracing this competition virtually. We are all waiting to listen to the words of wisdom on the legal aspects of debate topic, primary duty to protect the health of Indian citizens should rely on the center. So before I shedding light on the debate topic, I would like to state that Prestige as an institution has always believed that students' life should not be led with degrees only. Co-curricular and extracurricular activities play a vital role in the overall development of the student's personality. Now, as far as the topic of today's national debate competition is concerned, whatever limited knowledge I have about the Indian Constitution, the Constitution of India does not expressly guarantee a fundamental right to health. However, there are multiple references in the Constitution to public health and on the role of state of the provisions of healthcare to citizens. I feel global COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the deep vulnerabilities of India's healthcare system, and much of the low state of India's healthcare system is blamed on India's small expenditure on public health. Just 1.29% of the GDP in 2019-2020 is lower than, I would say, most of the countries. Another critical reason for the weak public health in India is the absence of a statutory framework that guarantees a fundamental right to health. There is a need to make the right to health a fundamental right and implement it within the framework of legal devices and human rights principle of solidarity, proportionality, and transparency, which will help India addresses the challenges posed by COVID-19. I think it should be the prime responsibility of both the center and state governments to take care of the health of its citizens. And for this, we need not only to improve the health infrastructure of our country, but the government will also have to ensure that the healthcare system of our country becomes affordable for the majority of country's population. After this COVID-19 pandemic, I do hope the government will lay its prime focus to hike the budgetary allocation on health at par with the global standards, given the size of India's population. Now, without taking much of your time, I would like to listen to our esteemed guests. Thank you, friends. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. We are also pleased to have with us Dr. Anil Bajpai, Chief Operating Officer, Prestige Education Foundation. Dr. Bajpai, sir, is a veteran from corporate world. As a former director of Keat School of Management, his attempt has always been to bring a positive change in the education sector in an effort to bring education and industry close. I now request Dr. Bajpai, sir, to please address the audience.
Thank you, Ritu, and a very, very good morning to everyone on the panel. And I'm very proud to say that today, at the second Dr. Nimna Jain national debate competition by the Department of Law, PIMR, we have more than 140 participants just now. Good morning again, Honorable Justice Chelmeshwarji and Honorable Dr. Shastri. The topic is very topical, as it should be. And talking of whether health should be a subject matter of the center or not is something that will be put to debate, not just at this national debate. I am sure many courts will have such rulings to make from different debates happening across the world. Rightly said, Chelmeshwarji, before you had joined in, Dr. Shastri was making a point, and he was making a point that was so relevant, and it's stuck in my mind, that he says human rights is a subject, but how can you even talk about human rights without thinking about your duties? Rights and duties. We talk about our fundamental rights, but we forget our duties. Now, that is something which I'm sure is going to be the bone of contention that many speakers and many debaters over the next couple of days are going to discuss. Well, it's a matter which is going to be broken, beaten, threadbare, and a lot of directions may emerge from intelligent people debating for the next couple of days. I would like to add and give a little bit of an anecdote where I wanted, and which Ritu has just mentioned, that I have been trying to transform education. And I've been trying to transform education because I went into the space domain of higher education after having served for almost 32 years in the corporate sector. And having studied at some of the best institutions of the country, I realized during my life that the director of the institution or the head of the institution or the principal was somebody to be feared. And you dare not enter anywhere close to his office. If he was coming by, chances were that you will turn around and take another path. Why so? After all, he's the guy who is actually your head. But every student was scared of him, ran away from him. And therefore, I was wondering what happened in all this. The student pays the fees on a prepaid model where he pays first and attend the class later on. And yet, he's the least regarded individual in any campus. So what do? We should turn this pyramid upside down. And this is something that I've tried to attempt anywhere else. And we're trying to do that at the Prestige Institute of Management Research and the Prestige University also, where the head is at the bottom of the pyramid. And he serves the faculty serves the students. And this is being exhibited today, where we are all gathered here to make sure that our customers, our product, and our the biggest stakeholder, the student body, is at the top, is debating on this national competition, will emerge from here. And I would like to see, and this is a dream that we have, that one of these boys and girls will be where people like yourself, Justice Chelmeshwarji, have ruled at the Supreme Court level and operated at the highest levels of judiciary in the country. And that's where we want some of our boys and girls to be. And for that, it is all of us who will be at their beck and call, at their service, not without disciplining them. We will discipline them. We will help them in whatever it takes. But eventually, they are the prime responsibility of all of us. Thank you so much, sir. And we hope to have a very, very, very exciting couple of days here on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our guest of honor for today's event is Dr. T.S.N. Shastri, Professor, Pune University, and former Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. Dr. Shastri has held various academic and administrative positions. He was an academic fellow of European Commission and was also an invitee to the International Conference by Vitsala University, Warsaw. He is the recipient of the Best Innovative Teacher Award by Savitribai Pune University and Vijaya Shri Award from the International Friendship Society, New Delhi in 2005 for his efforts for the propagation of human rights education. He has also served in various capacities in committees like UGC, DCI, and UPSC. He has contributed to more than 75 research papers and has authored 4 books. His remarkable contribution to both academic and administrative growth and development of the institution is widely appreciated. We welcome you, sir, to the Department of Law, PIMR, and I now request you to kindly address the gathering.
I think Professor Shastri, you have to unmute yourself.
Sir, could you please unmute?
Nakul, can you unmute Dr. Shastri?
Sir, I can send him a request to unmute, but he'll have to unmute himself. I'm just sending him a request.
Please.
Sir, you unmuted for a while there. I think now Dr. Shastri is unmuted. Sir, we would love to hear from you now.
Dr. Shastri, am I audible to you?
I think so. There is some
Ritu ma'am,
connection
I suggest that we proceed ahead, and I'll just give Dr. Shastri a call and figure out what the issue is.
Fine.
If that is fine.
Yeah, that is all right. I'll proceed to the next. Our chief guest for today's function needs no introduction. Honorable Justice Shri Chimleshwar Sir, former Judge of Supreme Court of India. Sir started his law journey as a senior counsel in 1995 and was elevated as Chief Justice of Guwahati and Kerala High Court before he was finally elevated to the Supreme Court Judge. In his tenure as a senior most judge of Supreme Court of India, his judgment ensured that the core freedoms constituting liberty of human being is not being violated. To his credit, he has headed and has been the part of the bench that has delivered landmark judgments in the recent time, the most historic being, right to privacy being a fundamental right. A visionary judge who has ensured that the equanimity and democracy of the Supreme Court is preserved through an independent and impartial judiciary. A voracious reader himself, Honorable Justice Sir, is a rare judge who had opened his library to his law clerks and budding lawyer. He is lauded for his judicial approach, and the legal fraternity would always remain indebted to him. It is our immense pleasure and honor, sir, to have you with us for this event. I would request you to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you, Professor Ritupriya. Good morning to all the participants. Now, I'll start with a presumption. The motivating factor behind this debate, I guess, hopefully I'm not wrong, is the pandemic which is troubling the humanity for the last about 2 years now. Now suddenly everybody starts asking these questions. It's whose responsibility it is? Government of India, state governments, people, well, doctors, whoever it is. The point is, in a debate where participants are essentially students of law. The expression students of law I use in a very specific sense. Judges are included in that. Merely because somebody has become a lawyer or a senior advocate or a judge, he doesn't cease to be a student. Of course, a lot of people cease to be students because they believe that once they achieve an office, they have nothing more to learn. That's a different story, because I don't contribute to that. I believe that we're all students of law, learning constantly, so long as we have that enthusiasm to learn. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you. Now, politics is always politics. We hear a lot of cacophony nowadays. Whose responsibility? The government of India's responsibility. No, state government's responsibility. We have been hearing all these things. Forget about this, the current, emotional problems and the emotional outbursts of various people. Let us dispassionately examine from the point of view of the legal structure of this country. Now, 2-3 things must be remembered before we say anything. First of all, notwithstanding the repeated assertions of the members of the bar and the courts that India is a federal political entity, I have my own reservations on that question. Of course, in the Constitution, India is defined as a union of states. It is not defined as a federation of states. Legally, what it means is a different question. Maybe it requires a little explanation. One simple reason is these units are not sacrosanct. They can be brought into existence or they can be extinguished by a simple law of the parliament. We have seen in the last 70 years, many a time it happened, new entities came into existence, old entities got divided or merged with something else. So therefore, to believe strictly that India is a federal polity, I have my own questions about it. Maybe it requires a full-fledged debate. I will not go into it. But please remember, at least the text of the Constitution doesn't say, it only says it is a union of states. Now, even when if it is treated as union, so long as the states exist, whatever name, because it's a fluctuating body. In law, all of you are aware of the concept of an assembly of shifting mass of people. It's some kind of thing on a larger scale, maybe slightly different time scale. Now, the powers of the legislation and executive powers are distributed between the Union of India and these so-called states. And if we examine the structure of the Constitution and the scheme of the Constitution, And it's always been acknowledged by the Supreme Court that the structure leans heavily in favor of the Union of India. That's once again a different problem. Please remember it only for the purpose of the next 2 days of debate. Now, when we come to the topic, whose responsibility it is, obviously there can't be a one-line answer to this. If there's a one-line answer possible, a 2-day debate is not really required. Now, to understand whose responsibility is this, first of all, we must understand what exactly is the way the health of the people is protected in the modern world. Now, I believe the elements which are required to be taken into consideration in developing any theory about the protection of the health of the people is what kind of a medical education system do we have, how efficacious and how widespread the medical education system is in this country. Second is, what is the sanitation conditions of this country? What are those conditions? Because sanitation is considered to be one of the essential elements of the public health. In fact, I don't know, some of you I'm sure must have read it. A few years back, there was a book written. Of course, for quoting something from that book, I was very, very harshly criticized by a very senior advocate. Of course, he's a person friend of mine, that's a different matter. Very heavily criticized as saying that the author Neil Ferguson, is a right-wing intellectual and challenged his reliance on him. So anyway, let's not go into that. But the point is, he wrote a beautiful book titled Civilization, West and the Rest. Maybe it came about 12, 13, 14 years back. He analyzes how did the West gain such supremacy over the affairs of the world in the last 500 years. Because by 1500, he does the analysis starting from the 1500 AD. By 1500 AD, China and India were glittering civilizations, whereas West, of course, US didn't exist as we know it today. And West only meant up to Britain by 1500. And what was the state of affairs in the Western world? They were certainly less evolved than China and India were those days. Look, judged on any one of those points of index. Now, in the next 500 years, West gained considerable command over the world, though this command keeps varying. In the human nature, it keeps varying. Britain, which ruled the roost for almost a couple of centuries now, takes a second seat. America takes this, Russia takes it. Well, anyway, that's a different matter. Now, but why did it happen? So he analyzes the whole thing, development, and he records a conclusion that 6 factors contributed for this prominence of the Western hemisphere from 1500 to 2000 AD. And one of them is better sanitation and better understanding of the requirement of sanitary conditions is one of the reasons which enabled them. See, ultimately, when you talk about a civilization which is very successful or prosperous, the longevity and health conditions of the people of that particular society, of whose civilization we're talking about, is one of the basic elements. We have a lot of wealth, but everybody in this society is sick, is no great civilization. I suppose I don't think any great deal of argument is required to prove that point. Now, this is one thing, sanitation, the education facilities, then the infrastructure required to maintain this education system, efficient education system and sanitation. These are the factors which are required to be thoroughly examined before we decide whose responsibility it is to, whose duty it is to protect the health of the people. I'll come to these three aspects of education, sanitation, and infrastructure a little later. If we examine the constitutional document, one thing which can be said straight away is this: though the authority to legislate upon public health is essentially found in the list 2 of the 7th schedule. One second, just give me a second. I'll identify the entry. I think is 1 second. Entry this list 2, entry 6. If somebody can kindly pick up this thing. Yeah. 6, public health and sanitation, hospitals and dispensaries. That is the entry in the list 2 of the 7th schedule, which gives an indication that states have a great deal of responsibility in maintaining the public health of the geographical territory. Coupled with that, one more interesting entry in the context of present problem of the pandemic, which we are suffering for the last almost 2 years. Now, there is an entry which, the second list, which deals with migration of people list 3, I think list 3, I'll just come to it. I think 29. Prevention of extension from one state to another of infectious or contagious diseases or pests affecting men, animals, or plants. This is a list 3 subject, which is a concurrent list subject. Coupled with this, education, especially technical education and medical education, which are brought into the concurrent list sometime, I think by the 42nd Amendment, they were brought into the concurrent list, which is now heavily controlled by the legislation made by the Parliament. And now, and apart from what is commanded by the legislature, the Parliament, certain judgments of the Supreme Court, for example, a unified examination for entrance into the medical education system, medical colleges, is an interpretative process adopted by the Supreme Court of India, became highly centralized now. Now, it is in this background, when we talk about whose responsibility it is to maintain the public health of the people of this country. And we're talking, as I mentioned to you, it is a strict federal polity. The responsibilities may be something slightly different. In the context of a union of states with this kind of a structural arrangement under the Constitution, to say that it is an exclusive responsibility either of the states or of the Union of India might be a little difficult proposition, and it requires a very thorough debate on this matter. I'm not saying either way, but prima facie, I'm inclined to say it should be a collective affair. Collective affair, not because of any emotional reasons, because of the distribution of power system under the Indian Constitution. When the education system is completely under the control of the Parliament and the Union of India, the executive authority of the Union is coextensive with that of the Parliament, is heavily controlled by that. Without medical education, there can't be much anybody can do about the public health. So therefore, you can't hand over the responsibility of maintaining the education standards to one entity and maintaining the health conditions of the society to another entity. And I don't think that model is going to, it can never work. Simply, it can't work unless both the entities cooperate and devise a system by which the health of the people is required to be protected. Now, sanitation is a great problem in this country. World over, it's a problem, and in this country, it's a problem, even today. And once again, it's one of those things we are still debating. Of course, I think Ritupriya were mentioning about introducing me, said that I rendered some blah blah judgments. One of my worst criticized judgments is a judgment called Rajpala. The question there was whether the legislature can make it a disincentive for those people who defecate in public, for certain public to contest a public office. Anyway, that's the point. More than 100 years after Gandhiji told us that unless we get rid of this habit, we don't deserve independence. We are still debating whether the judge who says there's nothing, the law is a progressive judge or a retrograde. Well, anyway, let the debate go on. I am a Democrat. I'll never stop the debate. Let it go on. But the fact remains, stays at least, this is one habit. Of course, this is not the only habit which goes to make the sanitation. See, the kind of the waste disposal systems we have in the country, the plastic waste or any other kind of waste, what kind of systems have we developed? And what kind of a sanitation do we have in this country? I mean, how good it is for a population of 130 crores. I'm not saying, yes, I know, at least maybe barring, I don't know, is there anybody is older than me in this gathering? I'm not very sure. But I presume that most of the members of the gathering are younger than me. I don't know about Mr. Shastri and Dr. Bajpayee. I don't know about their ages. But then I have known this country when I was a child, where quite a large number of villages did not have protected water supply scheme. From there, we have come a long way. I know even today there are villages which do not have a protected water supply scheme. So these are all things which go into the hygiene aspect of the matter. And who has to maintain it? And if whoever it is, either the government of India, the state government, any particular state government, what are the resources available to these bodies is one question. And apart from the availability of the resources, how wisely these resources are being employed by the concerned governments from time to time. In fact, there was a mention made, the total allocation is about some 1.29% for health sector in the Union budget. So how wisely are we making? I suppose in any modern state, if we believe in that word modern, I don't know, whatever definition any one of us has. But I believe in 21st century, the primary concern of any state, and particularly democratic polities, is providing education and taking care of the health of the people are the primary, apart from maintaining the law and order. Of course, that's the most primordial responsibility of the state. Next come the maintenance of the education systems and also the health management systems. And what are the amounts that are being spent by these various bodies, parliament, the central government or state government, is a matter which is in public domain. And with this kind of allocation of funds, any amount of debate whose responsibility it is not going to yield any result. We can keep on debating till the solar system lasts, but it's not going to yield any result about it until we are willing to spend money and influence. In fact, in this context, I may tell you, developing infrastructure for maintenance of the health systems apart from various other things. I'll give you one basic example. In that part of the country, which we call, which is described in legal circles as British India, you know the distinction between British India and non-British India, the princely states. At least the British India part of it, I have some acquaintance because I was born and brought up in those parts of the country. In some of the non-British India part also, the development is similar. It may not be in all the places, but at least in some places. At least in British India, for about 100 years, more than 100 years now, maybe 150 years now, there existed district headquarters hospitals. I know old Madras province, of which my parent state was a part. Present Andhra Pradesh was a part of the old Madras province. And similarly, I have some information or knowledge about West Bengal and Maharashtra. These areas which were under control of the British government. Can I just take 1 minute, please? 1 minute.
Okay.
Sir.
I'm sorry. No, these areas, these district quarters hospitals existed for more than 120, 130 years. May vary from place to place, but more than a century they existed. And hospitals at Tahsil level or whatever level, some more hospitals existed, are brought into existence later, post-independence. Now, what is the state of affairs of those hospitals? I'm sure anybody who is a little inquisitive about it, if you are traveling around or if you ever have had the good fortune or misfortune of visiting those hospitals, we know what stage they are. Now, unfortunately, I notice a development in the political culture of this country. The government at different places, at different states, they have some fancy ideas. I bring an AIMS unit to my state. What is an AIMS unit? You build a big building. You construct a big building with all those glass facades and things and illuminate it brightly and say, I have created a huge development. The question is, if you have a district quarters hospital in every district existing for 100 years, instead of strengthening that institution, instead of providing better amenities there, instead of providing better trained personnel there, you just build one hospital. I'm sure most of you must have visited AIMS in Delhi at some point of time or the other for whatever reason. At least I have visited a couple of times when I was there. But I was treated there when I had a health setback. No, it's a wonderful institution. There's no doubt about it. But the point is, the pressure is so heavy on that institution because in the neighborhood, in the next 400-500 kilometers radius, there is no hospital comparable to that. So people prefer to go there. Then how many people can such a hospital provide service? God alone knows. And if you go there, you find the pressure, and naturally with that kind of pressure, necessarily the quality of the service is bound to be affected. Now, these are all some areas which require a critical analysis and a debate and examination, appropriate resolution as to what is right, what is not right, and before we decide whose responsibility it is. And one final word for opening up this session is, as it was pointed out, I believe, before I joined the session by Mr. Shastri, people equally owe a responsibility to maintain the health systems. You can't have we have a lot of these private sector hospitals with all the spick and span and, the very glittering hospitals are there. The kind of care the managements of those hospitals, some of them, not all of them, some of them take for maintaining the hospital in good repair, maintaining the sanitation and cleanliness of that hospital, and the kind of people who visit that and their own concern for maintaining it. Are we able to educate our masses? The need for, I'll just give you one example. I lived in Hyderabad city for about 30 years when I became a lawyer, when I came to Hyderabad from small village near Vijayawada. The High Court was a common High Court those days, what is now 2 states and 2 high courts. I lived here For 20 years I practiced, and 10 years I was a judge in this old Andhra Pradesh High Court. There is a hospital called Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences, which is a premier institution, good institution. And some of those habits the Indian population have, I'm sure, all over the country. One exclusive habit which is not found anywhere else in the world, to the best of my knowledge, it's considered to be one of the exquisite and exclusive habits of Indians, is this pan chewing habit. And those who are familiar with this habit and those areas where people chew a lot of pan, necessarily goes with it the habit of spitting all around the world. And public places are no exception to it. And the most favorite spots of all the dark corners are the most preferred things for spitting around. Staircases, corners of the staircases. And then hospitals are more, I'm just pointing out the one, it's not the only problem. I just, and Nizam's Hospital, with all its great, efficiency, it was not an exception to this problem. And of course, some innovative gentleman who is responsible for the decision eventually found a solution for this. But I don't know whether it's still works. After I've been watching dangerous trends. And in this country, this vulnerability on the basis of religion is always there. So one way of avoiding it is you keep some idol of some deity there, the possibility of people spitting this thing, idol is. But then, well, the country is such, well, people of different denominations, the other denomination, whoever it is, may not like it. So just to avoid that kind of unpleasant and it can be a very dangerous explosive thing. So somebody came up with the innovative idea. They installed small idols of Shri Sai Baba, who is acceptable to the majority of minority community in all those dark corners of this hospital, which did effectively work. At least people stopped spitting in the corners there. The point is, I'm not on the question of Sai Baba or XYZ or this thing. See, it's the responsibility of the people. We don't see when we go west, we don't see anybody spitting on the street. Some of these habits, unless we educate our people, that some of these things are not to be done in our own interest. Hey, in a pandemic like this, to make people understand that social isolation is a very necessary thing in the individual interest of each one of us, itself is becoming not very successful. And wearing a mask, quite often people feel it's an inconvenience, I do agree, but then the purpose is a larger purpose. Now, if you are not able to convince them, it's in their own interest that they are being asked to do all these things. Any amount of responsibility by the state, the central government or state government, nothing is going to finally work. So that is also another aspect. These are all matters which are required to be debated. And I'm sure the youngsters will take note of these points I have tried to project and debate it. Nothing need be accepted because an old man has said it. It is to be debated, and ideas are to be generated, and proper conclusions are to be drawn. I wish the debate all the success, and I wish all the youngsters all the success in their life. And I thank the management of the institution and the faculty for giving me this opportunity to meet all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On a lighter note, Department of Law Prestige always welcome you to the cleanest city of India, Indore, where you won't find the spitting problem, maybe for a brief period of time.
Good.
Say that the greatest legacy anyone can leave behind is to positively impact the life of others. Sir, you have surely...
I'm talking about the generalities. I'm not talking about happy accidents.
But we would be more than happy to welcome you and host you at Indore.
I'm not say if it doesn't happen in your institution, it's an exception. It is not the rule in this country.
Yeah. Understood, sir. Sir, you have surely left a legacy, and that legacy is for the generations to come. Thank you, Honorable Justice Shri Chimleshwar, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge and taking us through the structure of Constitution in relation to our healthcare system. Your perspective would surely guide the participants for next 2 days of our debate competition. Our guest of honor today for today's event is Dr. T.S.N. Shastri, Sir, Professor, Pune University and former Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. Dr. Shastri has held various academic and administrative positions. He was an academic fellow of European Commission and was also an invitee to the International Conference by Uppsala University, Warsaw. He is the recipient of the Best Innovative Teacher
Clean your
Award in 2016 by Savitribai Pune University and Vijaya Shri Award from the Indian International Friendship Society, New Delhi, for his efforts for the propagations of human rights education. He has also served in various capacity in committees of UGC, BCI, and UPSC. He has contributed to more than 75 research papers and authored 4 books. His remarkable contribution, both at the academic and administrative front, for the growth and development of the institution is widely appreciated. We welcome you, sir. I would now request, sir, to kindly address the participants.
Thank you. At the outset, let me sorry because somehow the internet connection got down in the university. I'm using my mobile. I hope I'm audible to all.
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm extremely thankful to the Jain Institute for giving this opportunity to talk. And I'm extremely happy to associate with the learner, Honorable Justice Chalmeshwar sir. Is proud to, though I'm reading his works and judgments for long, but sharing the dais with him, being an alumni of the same department which Dr. Chalmeshwar sir came from Andhra University Law Department, which is a doing department. And I'm extremely happy and thankful to Dr. Davish Jain, Chairman of the Prestige Education Society, R.K. Sharma and Anil Bajpai, and the faculty of the Department of Law for organizing the debate on a very contemporary issue and very important issue, whether health should be taken by the Union of India.
A small interruption, Professor Shastri. When were you in Andhra University?
Tappan sir, Neno Andhra University 81, 84, 86 LLM చేశాను sir.
Oh, almost a decade after I left. Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes sir, మీరు వెళ్ళిపోయిన తర్వాత sir, మీరు వెళ్ళిపోయింది.
76 I left anyway.
Yes sir, yes. So, under the various provisions, as I was just discussing before the meeting, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has passed a number of guidelines directing the government of India. And some of the chief ministers started commenting that only it is the Supreme Court of India which mandated the duty of the government of India to supply the medicine, and the Prime Minister announcing successfully. All these are issues which people discuss in the pandemic situation. But the topic is not pandemic situation. The topic is right to health, whether should be part of Union of India. Well, the Constitution has clearly structured, particularly the mother of the Constitution. Everybody calls her father, but I call Dr. Ambedkar as the mother of the Constitution because the preamble which he has given out of the pains that he suffered, and the last speech that Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar has clearly mentioned the structure and pattern of the Constitution. Right to health is clearly defined in the preamble. Because the concept of justice, which is socio-economic, cultural, 3 important ingredients that Dr. Ambedkar has prescribed: economic, socio-cultural. When it is socio-cultural perspective, it is the duty of the society and it is the duty of the union and the states both. Because many people call Indian Constitution as a quasi-federal constitution, except law students, judges, lawyers. Unfortunately, I'm not commenting. Some may be experts. Majority of our parliamentarians or legislatures are not aware of the provisions of the Constitution, or might have not even read the Constituent Assembly debates. Because in the last speech, Thanksgiving speech, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar has clearly analyzed this Constitution is a operative federal constitution, the first constitution in the world which has evolved on the basis of operative federation. And the second important point which he highlighted was the Indian Constitution has to develop fraternity. Third, many people say Indian Constitution is a borrowed constitution. Well, we might have comparatively brought in few provisions from other constitutions, but they are not borrowed perfectly or completely. Because the fundamental duties that Madam Gandhi introduced through the 42nd Amendment, whatever it may be, whether it is right or wrong. Well, the Constitutional Review Committee has already suggested that they should be made the first principle. And first of all, with respect to thinking of right to health or with respect to any particular provision, we have to teach, first of all, Constitution as a basic understanding in this country to everyone. Because Constitution confers, thanks to the Supreme Court of India, which might have carved out from Article 21 and the Directive Principles, Article 38, 41, 42, 47, 51C, which is the most important that we all adopt and follow international law. Why I'm talking? Because India is a party to the Covenant on Economic and Social Rights of the Human Rights Covenant of 1961. Under this, under Article 12 of the provisions, which says right to health is a very important part of the state. Here, state means it's not the union, it is both the union and the states. And as Honorable Justice Chalmeshwar sir has given a very brief dwell into the medieval ancient perspective. The important perspective of India lies in its ancient past and ancient glory, because we have developed our constitution on the basis of the cultural ethos. Unfortunately, the painstaking teaching of British that your culture is bad, your texts are bad. Today we have come to a stage that the ancient texts are Brahminical. I don't understand the meaning of Brahminical. Till now, I have not understood what is that Brahminical that everybody talks. It is because we don't know the Sanskrit, we don't read the text, we don't understand what they are. Because if we see the codes that have prescribed very clearly in ancient India, as Justice Chalmeshwar sir said it very clearly, as or I started in the beginning. Unfortunately, even the judiciary pulls down the government and the state, but nobody asks the people, have you discharged your responsibility? Particularly the Chola administration, if we take, or the Tirukural, if we say, one of the ancient texts of this country, has advocated community participation, community interest in health system. In Chola administration, if we look into the Chola Panchayat or village Raj system, though we don't follow with the Chola village system, France follows even today. We should be ashamed of. France, I was astonished when I was in France for a few months on a cultural exchange fellow to study the cultural perspectives of India and France, of the government of France. I was astonished that even in countryside, the village system of Cholas is followed even today. And the people come, meet every week, discuss the issues, particularly three important things, that is cleanliness, sanitation, and health. These are discussed, and then accordingly budgets have been prepared, and accordingly budgets have been brought in, and they are done. But unfortunately in India, neither the union nor the state's budget is very less. We produce highest number of doctors, we have highest number of medical colleges, but we still suffer. Today, everybody is talking right to health because of the pandemic situation. But right to health is more important than the pandemic. If we look into the WHO, last week I was delivering a lecture on international law and the pandemic situation in Bangalore University. This pandemic has not contributed much dangerous thing than the other previous diseases like cancer or malaria or whatever it may be, the previous diseases, and the death rate compared to other countries in India is just 1.5% according to the WHO standards. But the death rate in about, I've seen, why? Because in Visakhapatnam, in KGH, I've seen one of my friend The father died out of multiple organ failure, which because of cancer, immediately he was treated as a COVID patient. He never had a COVID. And corporate hospitals we have constructed. Are we ready to go to, we are ready to pay to the corporate hospitals. We are not ready to go to the government hospitals. If we go, because RC-PCR test, now every traveler, last week when I was coming to Pune, I had to go for RC-PCR test. I had to check every lab. Then one lab said, sir, we will do, you can come even on Sunday. Corporate hospitals say we are corporates, but they don't have corporate social responsibility. We have company law amended and Government of India introduced corporate social responsibility. RC-PCR test varies from 500. This I found out physically in Visakhapatnam. One hospital said 500 rupees, but we don't do Sunday. Another hospital said 1,000. When I asked Apollo, they said, we will come and do it in your house and give the result to you also, but we charge 5,000. Where is the corporate social responsibility then? 5,000 rupees RC-PCR test. And are they doing? They are not doing. That's what I found out. In the lab which I went, paid 1,200 rupees. The tests are not, they are not doing. Again, it goes to the government hospital only for test. They said, we collect only the sample. So you collect the sample, test will be done by the government, but you charge 5,000 rupees, 4,000. We are ready to go there, but we are not ready to go to the community participation or community interest into the government hospitals or anything. Why? Because we have lost the education system, education value. As Justice Chalmers said it, the Honorable Prime Minister wanted changes in the education system. Well, good. The new education policy is a very highly innovative policy, but we cannot implement the new education policy. Definitely, if it is implemented, it will be a failure until and unless we address the issues in the present system by deliberating and discussion. The deliberation and discussion is very important. Neither the union blaming the states nor union taking. Union taking may not work. You debate it because it's a debate. I should not provide the answers to you and the reasons for it. Because United Nations cannot function. So that's why various organs, regional organizations have come. States have been created. That is why the Constitution of India very clearly under List 2, Article 6 has given the duty to the states that you provide health care because you are closer to the vicinity. Union of India and Delhi, it can't go to Indore or Pune or anywhere to see. But what is people's role? People's participation. It is time that we people have to. I would have been very happy if the Honorable Supreme Court pulling down the governments of the state or union pulled down the people for their responsibility. They are not discharging the responsibilities at all. We see after dust is cleaned in our home, it's thrown in front of our house. We don't put it in the garbage. The Honorable Prime Minister advocated Swachh Bharat. There is no Swachh Bharat. I've seen in Vizag next to my house, entire garbage is thrown. And the municipal corporation comes once in 2 days. Then whether you wear mask, you follow social distance, your health is not there. Now you're talking pandemic, but you talk general health. Health is spoiled because of not keeping health and regular diet, regular yoga or exercise, which is Indian culture. This situation, when we do this, definitely, I think we could provide a lot of answers. First of all, education at the primary stage, instead of teaching tinkle, tinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, or who is the prime minister of which country, we have to teach. Because in Sweden and Norway, some of these islandic countries that I have seen very clearly, that the child is not taught up to 7 years, except the culture and the nation and the people of the country. After 7 years only, alphabets are taught to the children. They teach only the culture, the cultural perspective, unity, integrity of the nation, systems of the institution, and role of the people. I was amazed to see, observing the teachers as a European fellow, that what the education system that they teach. And we don't teach health education at all, significance of health at all. and that should be taught as a parcel of various perspectives. What level, what perspective, what participation, how it could be. I think the younger students from Pan India should discuss and deal with it. With these few words, I wish the competition a success, and I congratulate Dr. N. Jain to conduct this national level debate. In fact, this type of debates are more interesting, more fruitful, and associating and inviting experts and honorable judges and others is an enthusiastic perspective that we need to encourage. I thank you one and all. I thank you everybody, and I thank the Institute for giving me opportunity, especially to listen to Justice Chalmeshwar sir personally. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir, for guiding our participants to the constitutional journey and the practical problems we face in our healthcare system. Thank you very much, sir.
Before we move on towards the vote of thanks, I request all the panelists, we'll be just taking a virtual group photograph of the event. So it will just take 10 seconds. Yeah. Okay. So just click the picture.
I would now request Professor Deepa Srivastava to kindly give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ritu. Good afternoon, our esteemed dignitaries, Honorable Justice Shri Chalmeshwar sir and Honorable Dr. T.N. Shastri sir, Chairman Prestige Group Dr. Devish Jain sir, COO Prestige University Dr. Anil Vajpayee sir, Director Department of Law Dr. R.K. Sharma, my faculty colleagues, dear students and participants. I am Deepa Srivastava, Assistant Professor of Law, and I am here to present the vote of thanks for today's inaugural ceremony. There is a saying, don't raise your voice, improve your argument. With this national debate competition, we want to raise arguments, develop critical thinking, and develop ability to communicate under pressure. This is our second year of prestigious Dr. N. Jain National Debate Competition, where we have received overwhelming response of participants pan-India. Today, I would like to thank our esteemed guests for sparing their valuable time, gracing the occasion, and enlightening us with their words of wisdom and knowledge. John F. Kennedy said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. And I believe in this. Today, we got the opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this is definitely encouraging us in our future events. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and shown us a new path. I would also like to thank all participants from different colleges and schools who have shown great enthusiasm for this event. We are also grateful to our management. Your encouragement has always helped us to carry out such prestigious events. Once again, I thank you, all of you, for your gracious presence. Best wishes to all the participants. Have a great day. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. We now declare the competition to be open. The competition will start for all the participants. The competition will start sharply at 1 p.m. On behalf of Department of Law, PMR, we again thank the dignitaries for sparing their valuable time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here with us. I'll be ending.